This new space is going to be the Learning Commons and a classroom and a space called the Hall of History. The whole space is really going to serve multiple functions. It's just a really multi-purpose space. So this at the top is the lobby. So much more open. It is a learning commons, which includes a portion of our collection, which will change on a monthly basis. It's a fantastic opportunity in my mind for us to really give our collection the respect it deserves. I struggle with people saying, you're closing the Kripke library and you're disposing of the books. I'm not going to argue with the Kripke library as it is not going to, it's not going to look the same. But we know from keeping track of how the space is used that it is often seen more as a meeting room than a library. People want to gather, and so we want to allow for the space to better host that gathering and that interaction between our community members, whether it's a lecture or adult learning or just like hanging out and having some tea together. But then also, that little area right inside of the entrance of the Kripke library that Shirley will put up a display, and it changes at least every month, but sometimes more frequently. That display, any book that is featured in that display, it has like 10 times more likelihood of being checked out because it's right there and it's been curated for folks to say, oh, so this is interesting. I want to look this up, or I want to check it out. And that's the vision for what books will be left in the space. The books that will be left in the space will be, some standard Jewish texts that we believe always need to be present in a Jewish space, but then rotate, whether it's monthly or it's quarterly or whatever, the selection, we will always have a selection of fiction. We will always have a selection of Russian language. We will always have some kids books. And so making sure that those are always accessible to people in our space, that's important. First is this room, the glassed-in room, the classroom that you saw in the rendering. And it should be able to hold 75 to 100 people, depending on the setup. And that space is really intended for classroom use. So any of the adult learning that used to happen in the Kripke library, so like the book club or Eye on Israel or the Friday Learning series, things like that could be hosted in that space. However, because of its versatility, it could also be a space that's utilized for a pre-reception for the theater, or a breakfast meeting for a local Chamber of Commerce group. It's the thought behind it is that it'll be first and foremost available to all our campus agencies and our community members, but then we will also use it as a rental space that can host outside community organizations. The thought process behind this space is that a large portion of the space will be dedicated to highlighting the history of Jewish Omaha. I imagine the traffic or local Holocaust survivors' portraits were housed. That was not a highly trafficked room. A process behind relocating everything to this space, our own community and the community of Omaha in general has the ability to explore our community's history. utilizing materials from the IHE, from the Rikus Museum, and from the Nebraska Jewish Historical Society kind of woven together to tell our story. So the other main component of this new space is the co-work area. The thought process behind this new space is that we'll actually provide the space for more of our members to interact with one another, to work remotely. We do have a lot of members who, a number of members who work remotely and are able to, you know, instead of setting up at the local Starbucks, why not, you know, drop their kids off at the CDC and come and set up space in the co-working area. I'm excited to see. I really hope that everything that we've envisioned is able to come to fruition, because there are some fun components of this.